think, Monday or Tuesday to assess the site to get ready to do our event. And we were looking at all the invasives, and we discovered invasive wavy leaf grass. And the more we searched, the more we found out there was a lot there. We had to cancel our event, and we went back yesterday with people from the city and a couple volunteers with backpack sprayers to treat all the wavy leaf grass. If you ever see wavy leaf grass, let us know. It is an early detection, rapid response.
Where was that?
Ridgeview Park in Waynesboro. Yep, we were surprised by it, and there was a lot.
So what's the big deal with wavy leaf grass? I'll ask.
Yeah,
What's
thank
that?
you. Thank you.
What's the big deal with wavy leaf grass? So one of the things about wavy leaf grass is it is easily as tenacious as this stilt grass.
Okay.
Right? So it forms big carpets that are dense, about the same size, about the same density, about the same ability to suppress everything and keep other native plants from growing, including trees, whatever. Eventually, over the next 50 years or so, you won't have a healthy ecosystem. You're going to have just this. We're going to have to come back and take care of this too. But the problem with wavy leaf grass is it also produces sticky hitchhikers. So come August or even in the next few weeks and for a month, if you walk through this, your legs are covered.
Oh,
Dogs are
so it
covered, deer are
spreads
covered.
even more
And
easily.
it spreads
Oh.
easier than this. And this one's everywhere. That one's not yet. So we want to get it before it is everywhere.
So it's a prevention thing.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. Until eventually it becomes totally out of control.
Ooh, you did sharpen it.
Step back. So what he's doing is clearing the way for me to be able to get in and cut at the base.
And what is he cutting?
And what is he?
That's privet. Chinese privet.
All right.
And we'll show you how you identify it in a minute here.
Needless to say, I like my machete.
There's a couple different ways that we could kill this once we've cleared a way into it. This cut stump approach that we're going to be talking about, where you cut it off at the bottom and put the herbicide around the base of it, is one approach. What's easier if you can get at it is a technique called hack and squirt, where you hit it with a hatchet, because it's a lot less effort than cutting. The problem is these trunks are so close together that you can't get a swing in with your hatchet, so we're going to have to use the cut stump.
So on autumn olive or on Ailanthus, especially Ailanthus that's a rhizome, spreading the herbicide around the base if it's a large diameter or if it's just a small one, does that kill the root system fast enough that the new shoots don't come up?
You mean getting the herbicide into the cambium, not drenching the soil, right? Yeah. Go ahead.
It does.
Okay.
And the technique you can use with individual trees, since they're usually pretty easy to walk up to, is then you would use a hatchet or a machete to hack into the trunk, leave an opening that you can then drip or spray your herbicide into. We'll probably be doing that somewhere along the line here, and we'll talk to you more about it at the time. Right now we're going to cut stump this one because we can't get a hatchet to work here because the trunks are too close together.
Yeah.
So,
And does everybody know how to recognize privet?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So privet's a bush. It has, I think the easiest way to recognize it is, well, there are a couple of ways, but it has opposite leaves. There you go. Oh. So it's not the only plant with opposite leaves. Honeysuckle also has opposite leaves, also an invasive species. A lot of things with opposite leaves like this are either privet or honeysuckle. There are a few native plants like whorlberry that have opposite leaves, but they're not as densely covering on the stem. The leaves are bigger and more spread out. So when you see clusters and it's dense like this, or if it's viney, you can consider that it might be an invasive. If you're not sure, grab your app on your phone and do a quick plant ID. If it's acting aggressive and it's taking over, like especially honeysuckle will do, you can tell by the habit that it's an invasive. Coralberry, which is in the honeysuckle family, it's a native though, doesn't tend to just take over a site. It grows sympatrically with other native plants. The Honeysuckle, on the other hand, is going to cover everything. We have a bonus. Look at Tim. You can get the privet and some honeysuckle.
Yes.
What I'll be doing today is, as I walk around with you guys, I'm going to be taking my machete and opening up purchase points for you guys to get in here. The easy stuff, I'll just let you guys work on your own or in teams. One person cuts, one person dabs.
So honeysuckle quick ID is the bark is so distinctive. It's light brown, papery. You can see that right here. It's just peeling off. No.
This is actually a good guy.
If it's a vine, it's growing
This
around
is a Virginia
something.
creeper.
We don't have
You
anything.
can usually
native
tell it's got the
that
5
grows
leaves.
around anything. Grows around
It
other,
just happened
other
to
trees or
get cut
shrubs.
in
Everything that's
inadvertently.
twining
We don't
around
usually
is
go for that
triangular.
as a target. That's
They're
a good guy.
invasive. They don't belong here. Not doing too well, which is actually a good sign.
Yeah.
But you can see how it's just twining around itself, trying to get up. Not much in the way of leaves here to really show identification.
But we're going to come across a lot more honeysuckle. And one of the things that honeysuckle wants to do is it wants to get up high, and then it makes fruit. And so oftentimes it's climbing up that tree, and then it drapes down the tree. We're going to see a lot of that today. We're going to cut all that. We'll do our window cuts. Again, we're not going to try to pull it out of the tree. We'll just sever it and dab it with herbicide, and that'll be enough to kill it. So anyway, Tim,
Yeah.
have at it.
I get to swim through some poison ivy to get at this.
Do you want me to go and whack it out of your way?
Nah, I'll just.
And this is why you have to
Scratch
have eye pro. If you're the person in there cutting it, I want you to have some glasses or safety goggles on, okay? Because this is where you're going to get hurt today. He's going to cut it. I'm going to fall over backwards into the multi-floor road. Whoa.
Now right here, you can see 2 honeysuckle vines.
See how distinct they are with that papery bark?
So since I'm here, we'll just pop those guys out.
Good.
Okay,
All right. Come on out. I'll pull this out of the way.
part 1
Oh.
is done.
Okay.
Why don't we get a closer look to see what he's doing?
If you had a drip bottle,
Somebody have a drip bottle?
I do.
okay, if I could have it, I'll show you a drip and then I'll show you spray.
Come on in if you guys have never done this before.
So you get the sawdust off at first because we don't want the sawdust to absorb the herbicide. And it really only has to go around the edges, like that. And that.
Why just around the edges?
So it's just around the edges because that's where the vascular tissue is that can carry the herbicide down into the roots. In the center, there's old vascular tissue, but it no longer conducts anything. So it only needs it on the edges. Now, if you're using a spray bottle, it's a little harder to direct it. But you can see I'm just shooting for the edges. So either way, the edges are where the action is. That's where the vascular tissue is.
So how are you going to do that honeysuckle there that you cut?
I
Or
would-
is it necessary
well, I
to
can
do
do
it?
We'll do,
Because it's kind of papery.
yeah, well, that's why the spray bottle is really great. You just
Spray it right in there.
done.
Oh, you don't need very much, do you?
If you hit it with loppers or even those hand saws, you'll get a nice straight cut and you'll be able to just apply it.
Just happened to
So I'm going to leave this privet sitting here and just let